I was just trying to get to a business meeting when I found my driveway blocked by an irate middle-aged woman with her arms crossed. Her blonde highlighted bob bounced as she tapped her foot. "Excuse me," I said, climbing out of my car. "Is there something I can help you with?"
"Yes," she snapped.
"You can explain what you're doing in this house. I'm the HOA president, and I don't recall approving any new residents like you." I'd purchased this Mediterranean-style mansion a month ago. 6 bedrooms, infinity pool, and the promise of privacy. But Karen Winters, the self-appointed neighborhood watchdog, had made it her mission to prove I didn't belong. Round 1 ended with a security guard asking her to leave my property.
But I knew Karen.
This was only the beginning of her campaign. I'd built a tech company from the ground up and sold it for 8 figures. I was used to high-stakes negotiations, but I wasn't prepared for the sheer pettiness of lakeside estates. First, it was the trash bins, fined for being out 12 minutes past the limit. Then, noise complaints for when I wasn't even in town. My mailbox was stuffed with violations: improper garden hose storage, unauthorized parking. Neighbors gave me sideways glances. One whispered, "She's been president for 8 years. Nobody wants to be on her bad side." Then came the afternoon I caught her on a stepladder, peering over my fence. "I'm documenting your unauthorized pool use," she shrieked. "Rules say recreational water activities cease at 6 p.m.
"It's 4:30, Karen.
And I'm reading a book." She snapped that the rules had been recently amended. I'd reached my limit. I called my lawyer to discuss harassment. But what he told me was better than any lawsuit. "Interesting opportunity," my lawyer said. "There's a property in your neighborhood in quiet foreclosure. The bank is looking for a buyer before it hits the market." When he gave me the address, I nearly dropped the phone. It was Karen's house. Through my investment LLC, I made an offer the next day. The bank accepted. Karen, it seemed, was so busy managing everyone else's lives that she'd forgotten to manage her own mortgage.
I kept it quiet.
For 2 weeks, I let her continue her campaign. She reported me for excessive vehicle cleaning. She claimed my outdoor lights were disruptive to nocturnal wildlife. I documented everything, building a case of harassment while the real estate deal finalized. Tuesday morning, Karen was at my gate, hammering the intercom.
I buzzed her in.
She stormed up the drive, waving a piece of paper. $5,000 in accumulated fines," she shouted. "Pay now, or we place a lien on your property." I took the paper calmly. "These are fabricated, Karen. How dare you? I will not be spoken to this way on my property."
I leaned in.
"Actually, you're not on your property.
You're on mine.
And as of yesterday at 5 p.m., I'm also the owner of your property." The silence that followed was absolute.
"What did you say?" she whispered.
"Your house was in foreclosure.
My company bought it.
I'm now your landlord, Karen. And technically, you're trespassing." Right on schedule, my real estate agent and a police officer pulled into the drive. Karen's face drained of color.
"This is impossible."
"He's lying." She lunged for the documents in my agent's hand, screaming about fraud and conspiracy. The officer had seen enough. Neighbors were emerging from their homes, phones out, filming the fall of the neighborhood tyrant. "Ma'am, you were asked to leave," the officer said. Within moments, the HOA president, the woman who lived for standards and order, was being handcuffed on my driveway. "You're under arrest for criminal trespassing and disorderly conduct." As she was guided into the back of the patrol car, she shouted about suing us all. But the crowd of neighbors? They weren't looking at her with sympathy. They were looking at her with satisfaction. The emergency HOA board meeting that night was short. The vote to remove her was unanimous. The next morning, I stood on my balcony with a coffee. A moving truck pulled up to her former house. Karen emerged, red-faced, teary, and for the first time in 8 years, silent. She looked up, saw me watching, and hurried back inside. She's facing 6 months in jail and a $5,000 fine for the harassment. That afternoon, I got a letter from the new HOA board. They apologized for the misunderstanding and asked to meet to discuss my integration into the community. I haven't replied yet. I think I'll wait 12 minutes past the mandated response time, just for old time's sake.